Hello, my name is Susan Billotte, and this is my presentation on HR analytics in relation to strategic recruitment and retention. I'm going to review with you what is HR analytics, how can HR analytics be used, the two types of analytical methods, which HR metrics can be used to measure the effectiveness of retention strategies, and how can companies not using HR analytics adapt. According to Wurgis and Nair, HR analytics is a proactive and systematic process for gathering, analyzing, communicating, and using HR data. Now that we know what HR analytics is, we can discuss how this process can be used. How can HR analytics be used? They can be used to develop policies and procedures to meet a company's strategic objectives. Let's delve deeper into what this all means. On the Valamis website, there's a good description of the different types of analytical methods. The two types we are going to talk about are descriptive and predictive. So for descriptive analytics in relationship to turnover, that would be gathering information on terminated employees, such as their length of service, the reason that they left, the department they worked in, what their job was, and who their supervisor was. For descriptive analytics, you would just use this information to make lists and/or graphs to depict the data. So you're just describing the information that you've just collected. Now, for predictive analytics, you would use that descriptive data to find patterns and create policies and procedures that would reduce turnover. For example, if you find that a common denominator is a particular supervisor with a lot of turnover in their area, you can do further research on that supervisor and maybe find that their training wasn't adequate or it was even non-existent, and they may need additional training on management skills to have them be a more effective manager and perhaps lessen turnover in their area. So now that there's a clearer difference between gathering data and putting that data to use, let's look at what data points we should be looking at. Some of the HR metrics you can look at when you're reviewing your retention strategies are average length of service. So the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics is a good reference to get comparable information for your company and others in your industry. The next would be retention rate, which is also known as the stability index. This measures the rate at which workers stay with the company during a specified period of time. Next would be turnover rate, and that's the number of terms divided by the total number of employees. It's used in conjunction with the retention rate to get a more complete view of worker movement. To learn more about retention and turnover rates, SHRM has an article called How Do I Calculate Retention? And that's a good reference to get information on retention and turnover. And then lastly, employee engagement surveys. According to Tenney, employee engagement surveys can be used to determine needed changes to the work environment, compensation strategies, and management styles. Not every company is poised to be able to collect a lot of data. So what can these companies do? They can start small, find one area of concern, decide what data points will help them best understand the problem, and build a program to address that problem. They can utilize outside sources for statistics, such as the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and industry-related surveys. Also, they can utilize employee engagement surveys. These are an easy way for any size company to gather data on what is important to your employees. This way they can get started small. According to an article for the Academy to Innovate HR, what HR professionals believe to be effective and what the data proves to be effective can be two different things. It takes a combination of evidence and experience to make good, solid decisions. The bottom line is HR analytics takes the guesswork out of developing effective programs. Thank you for taking the time to view my presentation.